Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on Earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife, and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Empower Me Show. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Pam Bright. I'm your host for this program. We are here every Thursday from noon to 1 Pacific time, and I'm so glad that you tuned in. I am here with my new special friend and special guest for this program, Jean Walters. Welcome to the show, Jean. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
Awesome.
I'm very interested in hearing about the bright butterfly.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we have lovely colors for us to bring in the butterfly energy today. I'm so glad that my husband is so great about getting all of these wonderful colors up for us to enjoy. And you have been in doing your business and with your mission on the planet for quite a while. Isn't it?
A very long time. Yes.
Didn't you say like 30 years or something
I
that
would,
you've been doing this work?
that's really conservative. It would have to be more closer to 40 or 45. Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, we can't wait to hear about your journey and your work in the world of spiritual transformation and really the world of giving from our hearts of who we are as beings of light on this planet. Before we get going, the thing that works really well for me as a soul on this planet is to ground myself into this reality. Because I don't know about you, but I get really whacked kind of working with the world and all of its energies. And so it helps me to just take a moment and ground myself. For those of you who don't know what I mean by grounding, it's really claiming who you are as a human being and claiming who you are as a soul, as a spirit, because we're both, right? We're human and we're spirit. And so we bring it all together into this moment by taking a moment and just breathing nice and deeply, as deep as you can, into your belly, and then bringing that all the way into your arms and your legs and your fingertips and your hair and your ears and your nose and every part of you. That really helps to just, ooh, you're bringing it all into the center. I also like to use sound when I do that because sound actually helps us to connect vibrationally to the rest of the world around us. Because we are not solitary, we're not alone in who we are. There's over 7 billion people on this planet. So this helps us to remember, oh, okay, I'm connected to other people. I'm connected to the world around me. I'm connected to the stars and the planets and all of nature. And so as we breathe, just focus on your breath. And I'm going to use some light language now to bring in that energy fully into our bodies. And when I use light language, I actually call it bright language because it's through me, Pam Bright. And so it becomes bright as we transmit this information to you. Ela tate tu asa de denda baye ki anamaye. Ke unduzana ye tu nunu maya nana. E ungu baba ye sharaba. Tadana esena maya tukue. Ala teka ye tu mama ye ki ala che che che. So we now ask the Earth Mother as well to bring her essence up into our bodies, knowing that as we connect to the Earth, we call her Gaia. We ask her to bring her energy into us, and she helps us as well to ground into who we are as spiritual beings having human experiences. And as you hear this bright language, it's actually transforming your very structure so that you are fully able to receive the support that's here. You can ask your guides, teachers, and angels now to come in. Ela tarai sena maike babai chera bainte unde sana mamaike una sana maite baba ikia esa taya kia tataite na sana kia satatati aikia babaye. You might say a little sound as you just use your breath to come back. Welcome back. That is how we do it when we ground. It never is the same twice. And so you're always going to hear something different come through because it's always perfect in the moment
Yeah.
for who you are, who I am, who we are as a collective. So tell us, Jean, how did you find out early on when you first realized that there was something that you were here to do? What happened? What transpired for you as you started exploring
Mhm.
yourself in the world and your work in the world and
Yeah.
everything? How did this actually begin for you?
Well, if you want to start to the very, very beginning, I was always interested in spirit. I was always interested in how it all worked, why we were here, what was the point of it all. And when I was about 9, I was throwing the ball against my front steps and catching it, and I noticed that there was this light that came through me. It was the best way I could describe it is like a very, very bright fluorescent light that went from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. And the light was just joyful, and it was love, and it was kindness, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful light. And I knew at that moment that that's who I was, that beyond the body, that's who I was. I was this light, and I also knew that you were this light, and everybody else was this light, but I happened to see it. So that began sort of an exploration for me, because I was questioning it, like, how does it work? And then I didn't tell anybody about the light because I knew my family would never understand it. but also I just wanted to understand it a little bit more too. And so as things went along in my life, I would just kind of focus in and see, and it was see the light was there. It was always there. And sometimes when I was really upset about something or other, and crying or whatever, and I would check the light to see if it was upset, and it never ever was.
Mhm.
So I knew that this was something I really needed to understand deeply. So I wanted to live from that. But of course, the people around me weren't doing that. And so it was, as a child, I was trying to figure out how to live from this light and also be in my family and my community and all of that. So that was the very beginning, but that was just sort of signaling to me that just my interest in something beyond the physical world. And so, I've explored it through metaphysics. I've explored it through meditation. I've explored it through all kinds of reading, the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, just on and on. I mean, there's endless amounts of information available, and then you have to really work it. You have to exercise it. You have to move your mind to a place where you can always access that. So that gives you sort of a mini version of how I got started.
I got that. I got that. So I'm curious, 9 years old, when you're experiencing this light,
Mhm.
um, how was your family system at that time?
Mhm.
Where you say that, well, wouldn't understand.
No.
What was the dynamic with that? Were there other things that they wouldn't
Well,
understand that you were
oh yeah,
experiencing?
absolutely. In fact, In fact, I would say that right before my mother left this earth, you know, relieved herself of this body, she said to me, I never could understand what you're doing and what you're all about. And I said, that's okay. And I said, I don't really understand a lot of what you're doing either. And so we had this sort of understanding, but at the end, she really listened to me. And I kind of helped her at the very end to make that transition because I told her that when you meditate, it's like you're in such a light place. And that I felt like that was going to be a lot of her transition was going to be moving into something so much lighter. And I think that was one time she actually listened to me, which I thought was pretty amazing because she was not a person that would tend to listen to anything like that. It was so outside her comfort zone. But she was a very fear-based woman. And so our whole family sort of revolved around her. And I don't mean that in a negative way. She was a very kind woman as well, but she was very, very fear-based. So I knew she
Yeah.
wasn't going to understand anything that I was experiencing at the time, but it didn't frighten me at all. I totally understood. I didn't falter for that.
I understand that. Yeah, my family was very closed when I
Yeah.
was a child. And so anything that was spiritual of nature, and I don't really know how much of that world was open to me at that time, but I do remember being in church and thinking, is this all there is? Like
Yeah.
there's got to be something else.
Yes. Yes.
And so I explored. I went to lots of different churches and
Mhm.
you know, they were all within the Christian tradition, but they were all different kinds, whether it was Lutheran. I grew up in the Lutheran family, so Lutheran was very specific in
Mhm.
its ritualistic kind of way, not ritualistic like satanic ritualistic,
No, no.
ritualistic like specific format,
Yeah.
specific little box,
Mhm.
specific ways. And so I remember sitting in church thinking, okay, there's got to be something beyond this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I started looking at, oh, well, there's a Baptist church down there. I wonder what that's like. And then I went to what I call the Holy Roller churches. And there I was like, wow, there's like something different here. And I could praise and I could sing and I felt free. But there was still this like, wait a minute, do I have to believe exactly as they believe? Or is there something else? I was always
Mhm.
looking for that something else.
Yeah.
And today, today I'm able to experience that something else.
Yay.
I kept looking for and looking for and looking for. But any of you who are listening to this broadcast probably can have a similar experience. I'll betcha that
Yeah.
those of you who are listening probably fit into some of these categories like, "Ah, I was looking, I was seeking, but boy, there was something missing."
Yeah.
And,
Questioning
oh,
is good. It's very good. You have to start with a questioning mind.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So hopefully you're going to hear something today that resonates with you and gives you some tools, tips, and techniques that you can then take on in your life that give you that something more that you're seeking. So how did it happen as you were exploring this light that you felt like it started assisting you in this family system that didn't really you didn't, I mean, it sounds like you didn't really fit
Yeah.
that family
Well,
system.
yeah, I fed in certain ways. I mean, it was I had good parents. I had a nice, stable life. I just understood that my search was my own personal search, and there was nothing to stop me or anything. One of the things I did early on was read every biography I could get my hands on, and that was again the search. Like, how did they know, and what did they do so that they could be the president, or they could be the engineer or the inventor. I mean, what did they do? What do they know? And so I began to just follow my own instincts with that. I've always been a teacher. I have a twin sister, and I was always a bit ahead of her. And so we would have an assignment at school, and my mom would say, Jean, go help Jane. She needs some help with her homework. I went, okay. And so I would go to her, and I was young, but I would present whatever the lesson was. And then if she didn't understand it, I would reframe it and go, okay, well, how about if I say it this way? And then how about if I say it that way? And pretty soon, I could figure ways that she would get the message. And so we were very close. And but just I was always a little bit ahead of her. She would be like normal, and I was not normal. I was ahead. So that was just my story in my life. Was I saw things that people didn't see. I was aware of things that people weren't aware of. I knew things that other people didn't know. And so that was my world. I was used to it. So it wasn't a problem for me. I was just accepted that was the truth. Like I always knew that we create our own illnesses. Always knew that. And I didn't know how I knew it or why I knew it, but I always knew it. And so that was just the truth for me. And so it would be always like, well, how did I do that? How did I get that cold? What was that going on within me that made that happen? And so I agree. I say you start with a questioning mind. You start asking questions. You ask questions that other people aren't asking. You begin to trust that intuitive voice within you. Everybody has it. You begin to pay attention to it. You know how many people have told me that, oh yeah, I have intuition, but I ignore it. And I go, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Why? Why are you ignoring it?
Don't ignore it. Yeah, it'll save your life many times,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's a question, since we're asking questions.
Sure.
Okay, so you were teaching your sister.
Mhm.
Was it an automatic thing where you started teaching others
I
about
think so,
life?
yeah. I think so. I mean, I was always put in situations where I could, reframe something to make it more understandable. One of the qualities I have is I can make things that are more difficult simple. So I kind of break it down, and I can always find a way to like put it into like a process or something like that. So that's always been a gift that I've had. So I think I've probably taught many times, but I've always had that gift to be able to take something that seems complicated and break it down into something more simple. That's why that's one of the reasons I write books, is because I can take those same concepts and make them easy to understand.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So when did you start writing?
Oh, gosh. I I think I've always been a writer, but you know, even in school, writing was easy for me. But I've always been interested in writing books. I think I've been writing books for 30 years. I mean, I was in a class one time, and the instructor said, write a book. And that's the instruction to every member of the class. And I went, write a book? Okay. And so again, I thought about it. How could I take this concept and then break it down and make it into stages or steps and put it into a book format, and which I could do. And so,
Interesting.
and then I liked it. It was so fun. I think we all have a need to express ourselves. Some people will express through being a great engineer, and somebody else would express through having a wonderful garden, and we all have something inside of us that wants to express. And so for me, it's always been taking the things I've learned and sharing them with other people.
That's
I don't
lovely.
require that they love it, but I just like sharing it. And so if they can get something from it, I'm really thrilled and happy about them.
That's great. How many of your books have been published?
Oh, probably at different stages of my life, I would say 11, something like that. I have 6 on Amazon right now. And then I've got 3 in my that in my consciousness that are trying to come out. I'm working on one right now. It's called 52 weeks to establish love. I'm saying it wrong, but to establish love, joy, and freedom in your life. And
Mm.
it's all spiritual principles, but how to merge with God would be one of the principles. And then I give very practical advice. So that's again one of the things I'm able to do is I break it down into very practical steps. So that's the one I'm working on right now. And then, well, this is the one I figured we would probably be talking about a little bit. And it's all about finding your path in life, But I've taught all these things in classes. So then I started taking these ideas and putting them into a book format. And that way, I like the idea of reaching a lot of people,
Mhm.
whether they know me or not. You don't know a lot of the authors you read, but anyway, it's fun. To me, it's really fun. Now, somebody else will say, writing, oh my God, I'm not a writer, but I feel like it comes naturally for me. I've written columns in major newspapers too, and
Oh,
that's
that's
really
lovely.
fun. That's
Okay,
really fun.
great. So since you brought that book up, what's the name of the book and tell us about it?
Okay, it's called Be Outrageous, Do the Impossible. Others have, and you can too.
Oh,
And this book is all about finding your passion. And I think it's much simpler than people feel it is, because it's just a matter of paying attention to what you've always loved. Like always loved biographies and autobiographies and how people did it and why they are who they are and so forth. And so I'm always interested in people. Yeah, I'd like to know how you got there and what you did. And so, I'm always interested in people, which led me, so easily into coaching, counseling and coaching and teaching executives. And just every which way, because I have that mind that can kind of break things apart and go,
mhm.
this is where you're off. And I trust my intuition totally. So I can know, well, no, we need to explore that area because there's something wrong over there. And so it makes it easy for us to advance in a session to understand where the loopholes are, and
That's perfect.
where they're off.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, I can
Well,
do that with myself. I'm not as good with me as I am with them, but but I'm pretty good.
isn't that true? It's like I'm really great at sharing with you what you need to be doing.
Yeah,
When it
too
comes to
close,
me, yeah, when me coaching myself, it's like, wait a minute, am I listening
Yeah,
to my own stuff
yeah.
that I know inside of myself? You
But
know?
that's where the questioning comes in, I think, because you go, well, why do you believe that? Well, wait a minute, what's behind that? What's going on, really? And then you break it down. You just keep breaking it down until you get to the truth.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of
yeah,
course, of course.
yeah.
So great. So people can get that book on
Oh
Amazon.
yeah,
Actually,
on
any of the books that you
Amazon.
have.
And I wanted to share with the audience today, if they're so inclined, just email me, and then I will send them 3 free chapters of the book, and they can see if it's something that's they're interested in.
Perfect. And how do they reach you?
It's Jean, Jean, at spiritualtransformation.com. All they have to
Perfect.
do is email me and say, I want the 3 chapters of the book that you were offering, and I would be happy to forward it to them. Give them a
Awesome.
chance to absorb something different and see if it works for them, see if it resonates.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for that free gift. That's great.
Yeah.
So, let's see, where else do I want to go with this questioning?
Okay.
The fun
Have
of my
fun.
job.
Have fun.
All right. So you realized at 9 that you had this light, and this light was for you and for everyone.
Mhm,
And you started realizing you were a teacher, and so you started sharing
mhm.
with other people. Did you find that there were specific um subjects or themes or anything that you kept finding yourself exploring with
Absolutely.
folks?
Yeah, it's always about empowerment or freeing yourself. Like I wrote a book on the journey from anxiety to peace. My mother was my inspiration for that, you know.
Mm.
And then I wrote one on the power of knowing, and there's one on the um, the magic and mystery of dreams. I like uh, understanding dreams and working with the symbology. And I think you would probably agree with this that everything is a symbol, that the
Hmm.
whole world, everything we're in, is all symbolic. And so that led itself to this book, The Magic and Mystery of Dreams. And it's because it also teaches you how to look at your daily life as a dream, you know,
Mm.
how to look at the symbolism in your life because it's always there. And then I just think it gives you an extra edge to understand where you are, why you are, and what you're doing, and so forth. And by the way, I never called myself a teacher until later in life. And then I just like, oh, I asked Spirit, I said, what would you have me do? What's my purpose? And the word teach,
Hmm.
and this sort of covered everything that I do. I write books, I do podcasts, I've had radio shows, et cetera, et cetera, and it's all teach, teach, teach. So,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
That's great. So, what would you say your biggest message for the collective is right now?
yes, yes. Well, I guess the biggest message really is that you are the light and that you are love and that there are no limits on what you're capable of. The only limit is what you set on yourself. And if you choose to, you can move beyond the barriers that you've taken on throughout your life. Probably need to understand them and then just move beyond them because that's all very possible. Once we understand that we really came in as unlimited beings, we are the children of the creator, we are from the source, then it's just a matter of moving it into life and doing some of the things that you love. If there's something you love, then there's a means by which you can do it. And you might have to be creative. You might have to, um, just try some things and experiment. But if you do it enough, you're going to find a path that opens to you, and to live a life that's really joy filled. I don't like this idea that many people will go get an education so they can have a job, so they can make money, so they can pay the bills. And I think to go through life that way is so limiting and so small, you know, in 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 comparison to what we can do. And I just would, I think it was Neem Karoli Baba said that work is love. And
Mm.
that's a beautiful concept, work is love. And so if we're not doing something that we love, then we're somehow missing out. And I don't think it's right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I tend to agree with that too.
Because
When
you're a
I
butterfly. Because you're a butterfly, right?
well, yes, and the butterfly journey has been really remarkable for me.
Yeah.
I first started connecting to the butterfly with my mom. My
Mhm.
mom was very connected to the butterfly. She had a butterfly candle that we had in our home for I don't know how long, then I ended up having it, but she was always really connected to it, and I got really interested in it as well. And ha- as my spiritual world was actually starting to unfold, um, I went to a big, very big medicine wheel gathering in 1989, I think, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and I got to do the butterfly dance. Well, didn't know anything about, how to do that. I was like, "Ah, how am I supposed to do that?" Well, the most interesting thing happened with that process is that in the Native American culture, they know that spirit and we humans are interconnected.
Mhm.
And so they are, it's in their DNA to
Yes,
be
yeah,
able to embody the
yes.
the energy and the souls of all of these different beings. that live on the planet. And so they had these masks for us to wear. And you know, in order to create the medicine wheel
Mhm.
or to embody whatever that particular animal was for that particular place on the medicine wheel. And so I got to put my butterfly mask on, and this was a walk in trust because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm going to do this thing. Sure, why not?
But that's exactly what I'm talking about, what you're just saying right there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I got to walk and have this butterfly mask on, and then I was told to dance the butterfly dance, and then I was told to tell, you know, the group about the butterfly. Well, I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, what am I supposed to do, and how am I supposed to do
But you
this?
entered it anyway. You did it. You jumped in.
I did. I
It's
did. I just jumped
beautiful.
in and I trusted
Yeah.
that it was going to happen. And when after that, I realized that something had shifted.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, something definitely changed.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I started at that point, it was kind of my cue to spirit. Okay, I
Yeah.
think I'm ready. And so spirit started working with me and I started embodying the butterfly. And then
Do you
I
know the
found
symbology of the butterfly, by the way?
the butterfly is all about transformation.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's why I use
And
it as a logo, by the way. I use
oh,
that
that's
as a logo.
perfect. That's perfect. So
Yeah.
through the years, as I have done fire walking and as I have done lots of different other butterfly medicine type things in my life, I realized, wait a minute, there are three distinct phases of this journey, starting out as a caterpillar,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then it goes into this what we call the cocoon, the
Yeah.
cocoon stage of
Yeah.
actually oozing, getting into this mush of a being, which is the metamorphosis process,
Sure.
and then emerging as this butterfly. And I have worked every one of those phases in my life.
Beautiful.
And as I do that, the more that I get to share with the world that each of those stages is critical
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
us in our transformational journey.
Yes. I
So I,
totally agree. I mean, it's a beautiful story because it's the truth, and that's why we have those symbols. You know, the caterpillar and the butterfly. I mean, we have those symbols to keep helping us see that's us. We are that. Yeah, that's what I mean.
absolutely.
Everything is a symbol in life, and if we can take that in and go, wow, I mean, that's me too. But isn't that beautiful? And one thing you kept saying is, I got to do this. You didn't go like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, you may have done it a little bit, but you were like, I got to do this and I got to do that. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the words of a true explorer, a spiritual pathfinder.
Well, and the more I found that the more that I give myself permission
Yeah.
to do things, even if it's uncomfortable,
Yes.
the more that I get the gift of whatever that thing is. And
Yes.
especially when it comes to something that is scary or
Yes.
something that I don't think I
Absolutely.
can do or something
Absolutely.
where I'm like,
Yeah.
uncertain.
You become the butterfly because I mean
Absolutely.
that's part of this growth that we're on is that we have to walk into fear. We have to walk into fear and go, what is this fear really about? And is it something I'm going to hold myself back with and contain myself, or am I going to just walk through it? Like they have some of those gurus will have hot coals and stuff, and you walk across them, but you walk across them because you're in another state of mind. You're in a state of mind looking at the goal, and I did the same thing with speaking. I was terrified to speak, but I also knew it was time to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one thing I realized, and you probably have too, Pam, is that there is no failure. You know, if you fall on your face, you had an experience. You had an
Absolutely.
experience, and that experience was another step closer to your fullness, to who you truly are, to what you're capable of. So I fell on my face regularly for a while until I really got the rhythm of what it was that I needed to have in order to speak to
Yes.
crowds, to groups. And that was a beautiful thing because now I speak all over the place and that I don't have fear anymore. And you know what the key was for me? It was realizing that I'm here to give.
Yes.
And it's not about, do you like me? It's about me. What am I giving today?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that was what opened it all up for me, is just realizing this is all about giving. And you know that.
Yeah. Well, and when we talk about soul purpose, um, that's the thing that I keep coming back to is, why am I here? Like,
Mhm,
who am I? Why am I here? I think those are the two big questions
mhm,
that human beings have. And sometimes we search all our lives for those answers. And for any of you who are listening, if you're willing to explore those,
mhm.
there is real juice in that.
Yeah,
Real
indeed.
juice. And it's not about the destination with it necessarily. It's really about taking it on and saying,
Mhm,
okay, what, who am I really is, what do I resonate with? What
mhm,
excites me? What turns me on? Why do I, why do I think I was brought here? Because
mhm.
I think we all made that choice
Sure.
to be human, right?
Right.
And
To hang
I'm
out
a
here for
firm
a while.
believer.
Yeah.
I'm a
To be
firm
spirit
believer
in
of,
a body. Yeah.
yes, I'm a firm believer that we have to this especially this time around, because I believe we all have many times around on this planet.
Well, we're sometimes we're slow learners.
We are. For me this time around, I have to really honor both my humanity and my spirituality. They
Mhm.
both go together.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of my work is, how do we honor both,
Mhm.
and allow both to exist simultaneously?
I don't think we can honor one and dishonor the other, because then there's this disparity and imbalance.
That's true.
So we have
That's
to really
true.
honor the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And when we honor both like that, like you've just said, I think that opens up our hearts to be able
Mhm.
to do the journey,
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. So in the last part of this show,
Mhm.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to share with us a meditation or a process or a tool that you have found really helpful for yourself, that you feel is something that the collective
Mhm.
could receive from you, because this
Sure.
program offers tools, tips, and techniques for folks who are
Oh,
on the spiritual
wonderful.
journey. So,
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Oh, so, okay, going forward. All right. Well, one of the
yeah,
things that I would encourage people to do is find out what it is that lets them lift into a light energy. Now, some of the things that I've proposed to people is like, maybe it's listening to this music that helps you just lighten up, or maybe it's looking at the night sky and seeing just the stars and just allowing yourself to merge with that. Those kind of things it's different for different people, but what is it? What's an activity that you can do that will help you move into this lighter expression? And of course, there's all kinds of meditations, and I have some of those are presented on my podcast too. And I'm a great believer in meditation because I think it's so important that we um, be able to look at our life and see it from a lighter point of view, from that point of view of what is this really all about, and not in a negative way. Am I being punished today? No, you're not being punished today. But what is this really all about? And because I think when you open up your heart, and in meditation is a good way to do that. When you open up your heart, then you begin to have those answers. And again, I bring intuition into it, like the still small voice that speaks to us. Sometimes it moves us right out of something dangerous, and sometimes it moves us into something very, very creative. Like the voice for me was learn to lecture, get up in front of people. Oh my God. Yeah. And yet I knew that that voice spoke, it's right. It's right. It's the next step. And not to let fear get in the way, because fear will always try to keep you small. And and so what you want to do is just find those baby steps and begin to take them over and over again until you can move in that direction. And one of the meditations I use is to just, close my eyes and just think of the universe as one energy, and the way the quantum physicists have discovered that there's just one energy in the universe, that huge energy that covers everyone, everything, and every piece of every material object is all within this one energy of light and love. And that when we move into that, when we acknowledge that energy, we can quiet ourselves, and then we can become very focused on what it is, where we're going with all this, and just release it to the universe. No, I decree today a day of light and bright and beauty, and in whatever way that's to take form is accepted. And then just rest there for a little bit. And then when it's time, it might be a minute, it might be 10, it might be 20. When it's time, you can bring yourself back like you did before. Bring yourself back to this physical moment in life, in this physical body, and then feel yourself grounded in the earth again. But now you have all of that other energy available to you, and it's going to give you the insight that you need as you move through the day. So meditation is an activity that I do every day. And another thing I do is process the day at the end of the day, like what are the things that I did today, and what is it, something sticks out to me. Was that about? What did I feel most fulfilled about? What did I feel like I helped? In what way did I help? And then just kind of have that in your mind and let it go. And then you can sleep better, because instead of having to process it in your night and your dreams, you're able
Mhm.
to process it beforehand, and you can sleep deeper.
So how
And
do you
it's not
process
about,
it?
yeah, it's not about beating your, I'm sorry.
Do you write it down? Do you
Yeah, just, like I
do you
did this,
journal?
yeah, yeah. And then what is there something that really resonates? There's something I want to give more thought to, you know, and then let it go. Okay. And your dreams will be easier, because oftentimes we just go through life, we don't think. And then our nighttime dreams are like, whoa, because it's the only way we can process it is when we're trying to sleep. So we have these dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You do it ahead of time. Dreams are wonderful too. I love dreams, but um, if you do it ahead of time, then you can rest better. You have more insight into what's really going
Absolutely.
on. Yeah. So those are some of the things that are important to
Okay.
me.
So the thought comes in the last few minutes for us to actually have that experience of experiencing that light within us.
Yes.
And that ball, I experience it as I'll bring it in to the top
Yeah.
of my head, I'll bring it in
Yes.
to the bottoms of my feet and all the way up. If you want to take a couple
Yeah.
minutes and just bring that in so
Yes.
that as an experience, we can do that in the last few minutes that we have.
Okay. You want me to do it, or
Would you
you?
would you like to do that?
Yeah, I would do that. So let's take a moment and then just take a deep breath. And then let it go out very slowly and relax completely as the breath goes. And then take another slow, deep breath in. And this time, feel all the energy released from your body, all the tension released from your body, so that you bring yourself into a very deep, quiet space. Moving into stillness and just paying attention to your breath coming in and going out. And as you do that, there's this beautiful light that pours in from the top of your head, and it goes all the way down through you. It's the light of God, it's the light of love, and it completely takes over in your body, just beautifying everything. And this light is gleaming and gorgeous and brilliant. And this light is you. And so breathe in the light and let it go, and breathe it in and let it go, and allow yourself to completely merge with it. So you know at this moment, that's the only truth you understand, that you are this light. You allow yourself to be that. And just let it pour through your whole body, through every part of your being. Any part of you that might be hurting, pour more light into that part and let it do its work. Feel it all the way down to your feet and grounding you to the earth. And when you're ready, when you've completely done this and fill yourself, when you're ready, it might be a minute or a half an hour or whatever, then take a moment and just see yourself back in your chair, see yourself back in your grounded state, grounded to the earth and to what you're doing. Bring yourself back. And when you've done that completely, then take in a deep breath and open your eyes to this moment in time and this place in time. And you're back and you're good and everything is right. And so it is.
And so it is. Awesome. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys can do that every single day. I
Mhm.
recommend that process, and you can switch that and cue that however it fits for you. Mine tends to change from moment to moment depending on, what I feel like I need. The other key piece that I highly recommend is that we all have spirit guides, teachers, and angels that work with us. And so when you are bringing that light into your body, that's the time to ask your guides to come and assist you in your day.
Mhm.
Because your guides will help you when you ask them to. But
Right.
here's the key. They won't. They'll just watch you struggling in your life and trying to figure it all out unless you are consciously saying, please come and assist me now. Because this is a free will zone. And so they're like, you can do whatever you want to, but I'm here if you want me.
Yeah.
So
That's a beautiful thought, though. That's great.
yeah, so that's what I would suggest is that, again, it's a plea for help. It's a request for help. It's a, I don't want to do life alone anymore for help, right?
Yeah. It's an
Whatever your
acknowledgement.
belief system is,
Yeah.
this is
It's,
the time. Anything else in the last few minutes that you want to share, Jean? Do you feel it's
just
important?
a reminder again, just contact me if you would like to get some three chapters and find out if that's something for you. It might help you to open up your own ideas about what's possible for you. And I would love that. And just send me a note.
Okay, all right. So what is
Jean,
the podcast that you have?
the podcasts I have are all there. It's Jean Walters, YouTube.com. I have it on my, oh, I don't remember the address, but I have it on my newsletter. I can send you one. But anyway, it's always about it. There's meditations, there's lots of meditations. There's some on Earth School, there's some on karma, there's some podcasts on how to live in the light. There's podcasts on all kinds of subjects, but they're all metaphysical in origin. And they're all about just exactly what you're talking about, tools to help you live a great life. We're here to live a great life.
Absolutely. So
We're here
you're
to
on
share.
YouTube. You're on YouTube.
Oh,
And are
yeah.
you on YouTube Jean Walters? Or are you on YouTube Spiritual Coaching? Or
Gene Walters.
okay,
Yeah.
all
And I
right.
notice there's a lot of Gene Walters. So when you send me a note, and when somebody sends me the note for the book, I will send them the address for the YouTube channels too.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
The other thing is you see her beautiful face. So look for her beautiful face on YouTube. The Jean Walters. That's what I'll do so that
All
I can
right.
find you. Are you
Well, I'll
anywhere
send it to
else
you.
besides YouTube?
Let's see. Well, I have the books. I have the podcasts. I think that's about what's current right now that you can tap into. But I do have a blog, and I send that out about every 10 days, and it's always something very uplifting. I think this last one was about how to live in the abstract and live a life of joy. And the abstract is living in that space of love, living in that, not getting hooked up into everybody's drama, and not getting hooked up into all the fear that's going around, but just living in the abstract, and it describes what that is. And I'd be happy to send that out too. So anyway, I have a mailing list that I send out this blog about every 10 days, and just always something uplifting. And I let spirit guide me on that too. Like, okay, what is it today? And then there it is. So
I love that. I love that because that's what I do too.
yeah.
I'm actually in the process of writing my own book.
Oh, good.
My first book, and I'm actually looking to get a publishing agent soon, but I've got to wait for her timing to
Yeah.
be able to talk to her and make sure that's a good fit
You
before I
found
get that
somebody?
done.
Oh, good. You found an agent that you
Well,
think.
there's an agent that's working through the business group that I have at my disposal, which is beautiful. So it's a matter of when I meet with Gail, is it going to work for me? Is that a good
Sure.
fit? Is that the way I want to go? All those things. But I keep bringing in the information
Yeah.
for the book because it's all channeled,
Yeah.
from poetry to channeled messages to affirmations that I have created. That's really going to be a collaboration of all
Yeah.
of those together.
Yeah. And
And
a
so
kind
all
of
of
a
you can look
collage.
for The Spirit Whispers is what the book
Oh,
is
there it
called.
is.
So look for that soon.
Uh-huh. And you know what? It takes a team. It takes a
Absolutely.
team. So, it's good. Kudos to you for looking for the right agent. That's great. You know, I collect a team of people to help me with these things because I'm not good at doing formatting.
Yeah.
But good at writing, and channeling, just like you. So yeah,
Well, and that's what it takes. It takes a village, right?
it definitely takes a village.
Yes, it does.
Maybe a whole city,
There we go. There we go. It's perfect. All right. So folks that are listening, thank you for tuning in. We're just wrapping up now with everything. We've got just a few minutes left. Let me ask Creator if there's any last things that they want to send us. All right, so the Great Central Sun is exactly where I went. All right, so we're going to bring in the energy from that portal. We're going to bring in from those star systems over through that portal on the other, wherever that lands. There's stars over there. So we're going to bring that energy in from that portal now. Erakandezu tarabe itada mei. Ole tada ye tungugugu yesu nada eto baba ye ya. Ke ulata ye ke dudu mama ye ki na 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 ye kuma ye. All right, so those beings were giving a directive to some of you. I don't know who, but you know who you are. You will receive that. And that directive was something around listen. Make sure that you listen to that voice within, that intuition, that wisdom that is innate in you, that will never lie to you, that will always tell you the truth. Simply connect in with your heart first. Your brain is the one that will try and figure everything out. Your heart will never lie. Your heart tells you the truth. We also ask Archangel Michael to come in to discern the truth with his sword of truth. So thank you, Michael, for coming in too. So we wrap all of this up now, this beautiful hour together, with these messages. Be true to yourself. Listen always to who you are. Listen to your soul. Have a conversation with your soul every day. All right. So with all of that, folks, I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And any last words, Jean, before we wrap up?
No, but it's been a delight to be with you, Pam. I think we're on the same wavelength, and I can sense the resonation that we have together. So I loved it very much, and thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So if you will actually send me a list of your books that I can look up on Amazon, I'd love to see what you've got. And
Do I have your email address?
I think so. I'll give that
Okay.
to you after
wait.
we end here.
I do.
Just stay
I
on
have
the
it.
line. Just stay
I
on the
do.
line, and then I'll give you that information. So
Okay.
thanks again, folks, for tuning in. Go to Jean at spiritualtransformation.com to connect to Jean and her beautiful work, and listen to her on YouTube. She's got lots and lots of great information for you. You can find me, Pam Bright, at brightbutterflynetwork.com. And we will give you the information that you have been waiting for.
There you go.
Whatever that looks like, okay? Don't
Yeah.
do life alone. Love you very much, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.